in child protective services, and they won't give them back to their loving families because they're making money.
This is a legal system that you're going into. And if you don't know the rules, you will be chewed up and spit out.
If I could say anything to a mother who just got their children detained, you're in a crisis. Yeah. Life feels like it's over. The most important thing is regaining custody of your children.
The child welfare system at its core is designed to protect children who need protection, okay? And that's key, is who need protection.
So social workers, out of fear, will remove more children rather than only remove those children that truly need to be removed.
It's okay. It's okay.
This isn't someone stole your car. Someone broke into your house. This someone took your child, your flesh and blood.
It doesn't say on this order that it was not proven. It says untrue. True. I immediately knew that, okay, well, this ain't over.
Were there signs there? Were there no signs? Did I miss them? Did I catch them? At this point, I honestly don't know.
Families only get a finite amount of time to reunify.
I came into this field to help families, not destroy them.
The difference between the criminal system and the child welfare system is substantial. You have more rights as a criminal than you do as a parent.
Hi, everyone. My name is Georgette Truen. I am the host for Fight CPS with Miss G. And I have my co-host today, Michael Cardina. Hi, Michael.
Hello, Ms. G. Hello, everybody.
Hi,
Thank you for having me.
You're always welcome, Michael. Always.
Thank you.
So let me start with this, guys. I'm going to read this to you. Child Protective Services, also known as CPS and DCFS, are protected empire built on kidnapping children and destroying families apart. When I say families, I mean everyone, siblings, mothers and fathers and grandparents and aunts and uncles and you name it. Bill Clinton 1997 Act offered cash bonuses to the state for every child they adopt out in foster care. And in order to receive the adoption incentive bonuses, CPS or DCFS treated kids like merchandise that sells, and they must bring plenty of innocent children so the buyers can choose. Buyers are the foster parents. Workers work hard to keep the federal dollar flowing. Each bonus is multiplied by a percentage that the state has managed to exceed baseline adoption numbers and placements. Therefore, state and local communities, CPS or DCFS, work hard to reach their goal to increase the numbers of adoption or placement. This program is set by the very top and is ran by the Health and Human Resources. This is why victims of CPS don't get the help from their legislator, or basically your tax dollars, guys, is what pays this gigantic system, like literally pays them for stealing children. DCFS CPS became this protected empire built on kidnapping children and separating families, which is really called illegal kidnapping that our government allows to happen, and judges as well. Poor parents, meaning poor parents, not poor on the street. I'm talking about parents who can't afford a juvenile dependency attorney, meaning that they don't want to settle for the court-appointed attorney, but they want to hire their own attorney. So what they do, they can't afford it because the retainer is high, especially depending on how far your case is in, okay? Now, they're targeted because they can't afford an attorney. So the CPS workers or DCFS workers commit fraud and withhold evidence in court, and there's no checks and balances. Judges allow them to run the show. And I mean judges do allow them to run the show because they don't hold them accountable to their own action. The separation of families and the snatching of children is growing day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, second by like every second. As CPS or DCFS business grows because the state and local government are accustomed to having these taxpayers' dollars to balance their overgrowing budget. The ones who benefit from all this are the state employees, social workers, that is, children therapist, court-appointed attorney, also known as court pretenders, guardian ad litem, CPS investigators, judges, foster parents, adoptive foster parents, and children's psychiatrists. All of them looking for children in the state custody to provide job security. We, the people, need the federal congressional hearing to abolish the state and financial incentives that turned CPS or DCFS into a business that separates families for money. The system is broken. The system is so broken because CPS has the fucking power to destroy and target innocent families while they leave abused children in the homes of the abuser. Now, I want to emphasize again to all of you guys, you have a divorce. You're going through an ugly custody and divorce battle in family court. Somehow, with what I've seen happening is that it turns into this ugly kidnapping from CPS because the husband, who doesn't want to pay child support, wants to destroy the mother, so he has connections with CPS employees. Or, for example, the firefighter I was telling you guys about, the mother was going through a custody battle with him. He has connection with DCFS. Why? His aunt works for the Department of Child Services. His mother is an attorney, right? And he's a firefighter. So therefore, he got involved with a district attorney while he was still married, while his wife was still pregnant. Then that district attorney protected him, even got involved with the investigation against him with a detective. The detective told her she can't get involved because she worked cases with her before and she saw that as a conflict of interest. And actually the detective said that he is arrogant and didn't want to meet with her. I mean, she just wrote like a whole report against him. And he was very rude to her. And the detective requested a evaluation to be done on her at the time, her 4-year-old at the time. The 4-year-old said in the forensic that her father slaps her. And they still stole the children from the mother and handed them to the father because of his connection. Later on in that same year, his wife became, from a district attorney, she became a judge. And the social workers withheld evidence. You know, the truth was not even addressed into court. When she went to her first hearing, the judge told her, "How dare you? How dare you?" And she kept literally discrediting this woman without even knowing the whole story. The father, who's the firefighter, he kept saying, I'm untouchable, that he's untouchable to the mother. And the reason he kept saying he's untouchable is because of his connection with the court system. We're talking about family law. We're talking about DCFS and CPS. So, and the sheriff department and the police department. When there was a domestic violence, when he beat her when she was pregnant, there was records of bruises on her body. However, he wasn't arrested. Why? Because the mother, his mother is an attorney, and she protected him. And his girlfriend at the time, who was a district attorney, also protected him and got involved. That went from an ugly battle of divorce into a juvenile case. The mother at the time, when she was explaining to me, she said, The children, she showed me videos of the children exchanges. I mean, the children love the mother so much. But the father said that she's brainwashing the 3-year-old and the 4-year-old to hate their father, which is not true. The 4-year-old said that her dad is the devil. Automatically, they took that and said the mother taught her to say the dad is the devil. However, what they don't understand is that the mother was at the time a Sunday school teacher. And in Sunday school class, her daughters were there. And they were talking about the trickery of the devil. The devil leads you to lie. The devil, blah, blah, blah. Lies are not good. And she was explaining to the class. So her daughter, the 4-year-old, said, my dad is the devil. And then the mother asked her after the class, why would she say that? She said, because dad told me he's the devil. So, but they switched her around at CPS and said that the mother is coaching the child to say that about the father. So the mother went through a psychiatric report in family law. The psychiatrist said there's nothing wrong with the mom, and he recommended joint custody. Well, he said the father is controlling, arrogant, etc., etc. Okay, but whatever. Then a psychiatric report happened, another one in DCFS when DCFS took over the case. Then that psychiatrist who the court sent the mother to, she did an evaluation, a 730 evaluation on the mother. And the mother told me she was there for hours and hours, like 8 hours, hours. And the psychiatric report came back favoring the mother, and the psychiatrist said that the father should be investigated and that it's a one-sided report that is only against the mother, but the father is not being investigated. In fact, she recommended for the father to do a 730 evaluation, and the father's attorney and the children's attorney refused for the report to enter into evidence in court. Refused it. The mother showed me the report and she said it's in the report. They refused for the report to enter into court, stating that the psychiatrist is biased. How can a psychiatrist be biased if you sent her to that psychiatrist? But they don't want to admit that there's nothing wrong with the mother. Why? Because of the father's connection with the courts. When the mother saw his girlfriend at the time enter a couple of the court hearings, she saw her hugging the social worker. She saw her greeting her with hugs and talking to her like they've known each other for years. The mother was alarmed. The mother kept weeping, and the first thing they said that the mother is not mentally stable because she was crying. And they tried to break the mother so badly, but that woman stood tall and kept fighting until today. She hasn't stopped giving up on her kids. And she said she's been fighting for them for 10 freaking years. What you guys need to understand is that the court, people think they go to court to gain justice. This is not about justice. You're not going to get justice in court. And I have said that multiple times before. When you try to handle matters on your own, thinking the court-appointed attorney knows what they're doing, they don't know shit. Those motherfuckers will tell you to agree to stuff just to get the case over with and move on to the next case. Never agree to any abuse, especially when you've never done abuse. When they tell you you're going to get your kids back, that's a lie. That's false. That's false. No one agreeing to an abuse will ever get their kids back. They're not going to give you your kids back whether you agree or don't agree, regardless. Another thing, when the social worker lies under oath, they're not going to get fired. Don't ever think that they will get fired if they get caught. In fact, Mr. Davis mentioned it on our shows. Me and him had a show last week, and he said they don't get fired. They get promoted. So there is no accountability. when the social worker lies under oath, there is no accountability. Let you and me lie under oath. Let's see what they're going to do to us. They're going to hold us accountable. But when a mother is dealing with a narcissistic father, who's a sociopathic narcissist, who has a title in the fire department or the police department or what have you, then they're automatically off the hook. Why? Because of their connection. Especially when they have family members connected to the department or a mother who's an attorney. They brainwashed her kids. They're now teenagers. Until one time that one of the children on one of her visits, they asked her mom, why didn't you tell dad about your son, our brother? And the mother was kind of like, what? She was telling me like she couldn't process that. So what a narcissist does, they brainwashes the children. Let the children think it's all the mother's fault. It's all the mom. And in a young child's mind, they grow up thinking that how can the court take them away from a good mom? Even though they see their mother as a good mother. But in their mind, they're thinking, how can the court take us away from a good mom? They can't process that the system is so broken. So broken. Because a narcissist will always want an enabler in his life. Someone that will enable him. So his wife, who's older than him, who's now a judge, she enables him. She protects him. His mother protects him. His aunt protects him. The people around him protects him. And lie for him. And LA County Department of Child Services are the most corrupt county on the face of the United States of America. A lot of people think Kern County is, or San Bernardino, or Lancaster, but LA County, I call it the whorehouse. They're so corrupt. Every social worker in that county is so corrupt. Every DA in that county is so corrupt. Every supervisor of Department of Child Services is corrupt. Every court-appointed attorney is corrupt. Not one of them actually do the right thing to protect the children. In fact, they would rather have the children put in the hands of the abuser because they themselves are abusers and they favor abusers. That's why they do what they do. I don't care what anyone tells me that not all of them are bad people. That's bullshit. Because the ones who are not bad, the ones who actually have common sense and integrity and character, leave the department and quit and move on to a different career of choice. They never stick around. But the ones who stick around, they have it in them to be ugly. They have it in them to be deceitful. They have it in them to be pathological liars to get what they want. So there is no one in that department at all that actually protects the rights of the children. This was written by Sarah Tiano. 750 million lawsuit claiming LA County Child Welfare Agency falsified evidence. This story is very similar to the lady that I was talking about the mother who married a firefighter. Beverly Hills doctor Susan Spill has filed a new lawsuit, 750 million, against the county of Los Angeles and individual social workers as she continues the battle to regain custody of her children, who were removed from her care in 2013 without a warrant or a court order. In the lawsuit, Spells claims that the social worker for the Department of Children and Family Services, which is DCFS, falsified evidence and perjured testimony to justify removing Spells for children from her care and placing them with their father, who has a documented history of domestic violence. Same thing with that mother I was telling you about that married the firefighter. There was a domestic violence, like I mentioned, and he wasn't even jailed. He wasn't taken into prison. Why? because the district attorney had connection with the sheriff department and the police officers. Last year in March 2018, the county paid out a $150,000 settlement to Spells regarding their issues. $150,000. They think that's going to cover all the trauma they placed the mother in and the children. In this new lawsuit, Spells' eldest son, Nicholas, now 18 years old, joined her as a co-plaintiff. The two asserts that the wrongful removal of the children from Spells' care amounts to violation of the Civil Rights Act and of their 14th Amendment rights. The lawsuit, in which DCFS is referred to a flank of BS, basically, the County of Los Angeles says, basically what they're trying to say is that it's all, bullshit, that they're not really scared. They're not really scared at all. So she says here, she said it's a corrupt organization claiming that DCFS, along with the county, the Superior Court, family court judges, and county council, collectively engage in witness tampering. Listen to this: witness tampering, obstruction of justice, extortion, and conspiracy to cover up these acts while carrying out the case against Spell, the mother. Spell filed for the divorce in July 2012 after her ex-husband Brian Evans was arrested for spousal abuse. An ugly custody battle between the two had been playing out a year, with family court ultimately ruling in Spell's favor in 2013. Before DCFS stepped in and placed the children with Evans, the father, in October 2013. By the way, the mother I was telling you about that was married to the firefighter, 2013, her children were placed in the custody of the father. The same court, the same case, different people. Spell says that all 4 children were the product of a sperm donor and that Evans is not their biological father. During the custody battle, Evans had visitation rights. Several instances of abuse occurred during these visits, some even warning trips to the emergency room. According to the medical records, these records and DCFS safety plan show social workers and numbers of doctors reported that the children were in danger with Evans. But the children's caseworker closed each investigation against Evan, and the court transcript shows that the caseworker told family court officials no such abuse has ever been found. Same thing with that mother, with the firefighter. One of the social workers who greeted the girlfriend at the time, who was a district attorney, with hugs in the court, family law court, she said the same thing to the judge. There is no such thing as sign of abuse, and kept it hidden under the rug. One social worker who investigated allegation against Evans, which is Barbara Smith, found that the children weren't safe with Evans, but pages of her notes were removed from the case file. Same thing with that mother I was telling you guys about. When the children were coached by the father to not trust their therapist that the department sent them to, the father coached the children to say that the mother told them not to, while the mother was having supervised visits. One of the court monitor in the supervised visits wrote down that the mother told the children to trust their therapist and she's a safe place to speak to. But the therapist wrote a letter to the court stating, by the way, this is not a therapist that, this therapist knows the ex-husband, that father, the firefighter, stated to the court that the children are afraid because the mother is brainwashing them not to trust her. But in the DCFS report, during the visitation, that mother told the children that the therapist is a safe place to speak to. So when I tell you guys withholding evidence from the court, withholding evidence, they thought $150,000 is going to be enough to settle this case. I am so glad she's going after them hard, because she deserves more than $750 million for the shit they put them through. All the shit that they put them through. That's why when people tell me, Georgette, they actually place the children with the abuser, I say, I know. They love that. They're not there to protect children. They're there to make bucks. They're there to make money. You know how much the incentive is? It's so much that CPS used to be $1 billion a year entity. Now it's $1 trillion a year entity. You do the math. You do the math on how much money they make for just destroying families. Their care is not about the children. Because these two mothers that I'm talking about, they're great moms. Yet they attacked her character. She's a doctor, for God's sakes. They attacked her character. So I want you guys to understand that you never ever tell a social worker, discuss everything with a social worker. She's not your friend. He or she is not your friend. They will never be your friend. In fact, if you see the last three letters of the word friend, it's end, E-N-D. Even a friend is not your friend for life, because there's an end. The ones that stay with you for life are the ones who you call family. Family. I have a best friend I have known since I was in middle school. I'm 50, in my mid-50s now. I've known her since middle school. She's not my friend anymore. She's my family. But there's an E-N-D at the end, a friend. So you need to be careful who you interact with. You need to be careful who you open your mouth with, because you can't be stupid, gullible, and naive to the system. Their job is to make money from removing your child. Make money. That's all they care about. I'm going to take, if you guys want to ask questions, go ahead and ask questions. I'm going to read it, but I'm going to have Michael kind of step in and speak his piece on what I just mentioned. Or Michael, if you want to, unmute yourself, Michael.
Sorry, no, I mean, that's a very, I don't know, realistic article. I just because I've experienced those things too, going from the family court, losing there, and then being like, what the, kind of like, raising some eyebrows, and then going through the juvenile dependency process. It's the same thing, like all those things, like giving the parent or the child back to the abuser. That is just unfortunately a common thing. And and it's very true too, especially, and you see it more in the smaller cities, counties, that if you do have a friend in law enforcement or a friend at the DA's office or anything like that, that you do reap the benefits, especially in the court,
Exactly. But Michael, he was sleeping with her, having sex with her literally when his wife was still pregnant.
That's disgusting. And then he beat her while she was pregnant too.
That's the thing about it, is what people don't understand is that usually people that have a title, they get what they want. Firefighters, stuff like that. They get what they want. But what people don't understand, more so when they're narcissistic people. When they're narcissists, they're controlling people, they're charmers. There's a difference between a charming man and a charming. Either you're charming or you're a charmer. If you're a charmer, it's not real. charming. It's
Exactly. Like charming, like you're charming, that's just who you are.
correct.
You know, that's
Correct.
yeah, so I get that. And then a charmer is somebody who's just playing the role. Yeah, yeah. I
Correct.
agree. I agree. Yeah, for sure.
And knowing people in the court system, okay, so anybody that the court assigns, they automatically knows the mother, who's an attorney. They know the wife, who's a judge. You know what I mean? It's connection. It's connection.
Absolutely.
And then the mother keeps fighting, and then they say to the court, "Oh, the children said," and then the children tell the mother, "We never said that. That was a lie." But then they go home to the abuser, so they have to deal with it. So they can't cross him, so they have to lie for him and cover up for him because they're accustomed since age 3 and 4 to cover for their dad. Drinking and driving, for example. The daughter said he drinks and drives. But what happens is the father made them feel guilty that if they say anything, that he's going to go to jail. So what did the kids do? Lie for him after they already disclosed the truth because they don't want their dad to go to jail. And of course, his mother would encourage it, and his wife. Because it's important. The mother knew he drinks and drives, and that was the whole problem in the relationship. But because he's a firefighter, he thinks he can get away with it. What people don't understand, you are who your parents are. You are who your parents are. Because you're not born as a narcissist. You're not born that way. And his mother even lied in court and said that the reason she gave him to his dad to raise him, not that she didn't want to take care of him, because she didn't want to have a child to begin with. The reason she gave him to the father to take care of him is because for him to be a man. But that was far from the truth. But that's what she told the court. But the mother knows the real story from the aunt, even his aunt, that the father is the one that took him because the mother couldn't raise him. While she was going to law school, she didn't have time to be a mommy. So she gave him to the father. But all of a sudden, that firefighter became reconnected with the mother because when she became an attorney, she started bailing him out. And when you look at his record, when the mother showed me his record, he has arson and theft on his record. But yet he became a firefighter. And then his aunt told me because his mother dated the head notch of the fire department that was in charge of hiring and put the charges under the rug. But it's public record. So what's sad about all this is that I hear stories from people, and things like this makes me smile. Why? Because this is a mother that's not giving up. She said, hell with the 150,000. Let me go for 750 million. And I actually think 750 million is still not enough.
You can't put a price on the
You
suffering.
can't put a price. Nope.
You just, there's no way. Not having your kids. There's no financial amount, dollar amount that you can give somebody that's just going to make that go away and make it okay that it happened. It's just no way.
Yeah, and also in New York, oh my goodness, there was a report. There was a report in New York about they're trying to pass a new law that the people that call hotlines, they're supposed to be investigated very well. Because 2 cases in New York, 2 parents fighting for custody and child support, divorce, custody, child support. And the fathers made hotline calls to DCFS claiming there's abuse from the mom to her children. DCFS got involved and went and removed the children and placed the children with the fathers. Ain't that a slap in the ass, really? I mean, what really gets me, and I'm not against fathers, because I am daddy's little girl. I grew up with my father and my mom, thank God. And I was my dad's little girl. I loved my father because he respected my mother. And he respected us, and he loved my mother. He never talked down at her. He never, ever disrespected her in any which way possible. And she never disrespected him at all. So the thing about it is, with certain men out there, and you know who you are, you sons of bitches. Oh, goodness. You know who you are. Shame on you. Yes, you're a narcissist. You're a sociopath. You're full of shit. Yes, you are. But you're putting the children at risk. But then I asked one psychiatrist that I've known for a while. He said to me, he said, Georgette, a narcissist or a sociopath individual does not have remorse. They don't care about their own children. They want to control them. They want to tell them what to do. They want to manipulate them, to side with them by making them feel guilty if they don't. So they don't care what they're doing to the children. While the mother is hysterically crying and concerned, the system is looking at the mother as she's a piece of shit. So basically, the system treats mothers like they're incubators to the system. That's how I see the system treating mothers. So you men out there, because you don't want to pay child support, and you think that making a false claim like that, like, it's disgusting to me. And they should really investigate all these false claims, because anybody that wants to go against you, they're going to make false claims against you. No matter what, no matter how great of a mother you are, no matter what, no matter if you take your child to the doctor, no matter, even if you, how can I say it? Even if you go to take your children to school every day, make sure they have lunch, make sure their clothes is ironed, make sure they do their homework, make sure you're like hands-on mom 100%. CPS doesn't give a shit. They're gonna lie and say the teacher said. The teacher writes a letter to the mother, like that firefighter's, the ex-wife. The teacher wrote a letter after DCFS wrote in the report that the mother tells the teacher about the dad. The teacher wrote, and she said, I never even spoken to this lady. Who is she? She never called me. She never met with me. The mother never said anything derogatory about the father. But what did the social worker write in the report, in the DCFS report? The mother said to the teacher, which is shit lies. But did the judge care to hear it? No, because the judge already sided with the firefighter. The judge already sided with the narcissist. The judge already sided with the sociopath.
The social worker.
And the social workers. The lies. It's all lies. It's all lies. And do you think they're scared of a $750 million lawsuit? They don't give a shit about a $750 million lawsuit. They're going to continue to do this over and over again unless we stop it. As the people, we need to stop this shit. And how do you stop it? You need to fucking vote. And I can't emphasize enough to you. You being violent with them is not going to stop it. It's the opposite. They will hold you accountable. The only way to stop these people is to vote. Vote. That's very important. It's very important to vote, legislators and senators. And vote and request and demand that CPS no longer have qualified immunity. We need to demand that CPS no longer have qualified immunity. And cut the damn funding from them. Because if they cut the funding and the qualified immunity from these assholes, I guarantee you 100%, they're going to focus more on the abused children. They're going to focus more on the abused, the real abused children. You know, with burns on their hands and not being fed and being locked in the room and being beaten with bruises on their bodies, all that. Yeah, they would be more focused on them, not on the innocent ones.
Yeah, good point, Miss G. Like the focus would be like on, you just said, all those abuse signs and patterns,
right,
on how to protect those children, instead of going into a situation and thinking of how we can make up something to remove these children, you know, that way we can get paid, you know, or it just takes away the what is it, the lure of money, you know. I mean, it's very simple. What is it, money is the root of all evil. That's fucking true. It really is. And that doesn't apply, that saying does not apply more. It couldn't be more true to the situation of CPS and what social workers do. That saying, money is the root of all evil, you know.
And Summer said, add the media in there too. Exactly, Summer. God bless you. Exactly, my love. Add the media in there too. Corruption. And doctors, CPS doctors, the ones that CPS sends you to, one doctor, right, says, oh, nothing wrong with the baby, nothing wrong with the mom. Then CPS send them to their own doctor. Why does CPS send them to their own doctor? I'll explain why. Because CPS doctors lie for them.
Because they're in on it too, you know,
they
just
lie
like
for them.
It's a well-oiled machine.
Look what Jay said. What about using funding for programs to help balance the system? Exactly. But they would rather use the funding for these corrupted assholes and the foster parents, etc., etc. It's really sad. And also, you guys, I want to explain something to you. One of you guys asked me today about the 388 petition. So Mr. Davis explained it like this on the shows as well. If the 388 petition was denied, you can refile. And the judge usually will tell you why the 388 petition was denied. So when the judge tells you why the 388 petition was denied, then you fix it when you refile. But doesn't mean that you can only file for a 388 petition only one time. You can keep refiling the 388 petition. Don't give up. And remember, with the 388 petition, you need evidence, subpoena, witnesses. You need the subpoena, you need evidence, and you need a qualified attorney to help you. You can't, the laws are very tricky. That's why if the judge denied it, that means you need to do it right.
And I think it's like from the videos I've seen, and it's a great tool. And I think timing is important too. Like timing, and then having it, like you said, all the right evidence, the you know, witnesses and stuff, you know, to have a solid and then prepared properly. That way it's easy to read. So there is no excuse for the judge to deny it, right? I mean, I think that's the big deal with that one. You have to, you know, have it all together in a nice package, and the timing, you know, when's the right time to use it, you know, like, so there is, I think it's a great tool. And it's not, what I've noticed, it's not on my particular courthouse's list of documents. You know, like I had to search around for it, and I found it on I think the Judicial Council website or something like that. You know, it wasn't in my county's document base.
But Michael, you have to understand how a 388 works, though. I mean, a 388, it has to be done correctly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Do not lie to your attorneys. I cannot emphasize enough to you guys, do not lie to your attorneys. I'm not talking about the court pretenders, okay? I don't consider them attorneys. I don't know. I honest to God don't know who they are, what they are. I'm not joking, you guys. They're like a puppet. They're like a puppet. They go to court with you. Then they tell you, admit you're guilty. then you're going to get your kids back. What the when you're not guilty, how can you admit to guilt? If you guys think about it.
Yeah.
If you're not guilty, how can you admit to guilt just to get your kids back? But why do they use the scare tactics? Because they know the mother is desperate. The mother wants her babies.
Yeah.
Therefore, with this shit is nothing but the devil's trickery. And I do say the devil. Why? Because any malicious, deceptive act comes from evil. There is no good in that type of behavior. So yes, I call them evil. It's an evil act.
It is evil, Miss G. Like, especially from the attorney, the public defender's perspective, because they know that they're tricking you in or kind of scaring you into doing this, and then they have to see you afterwards.
Right.
You know, for however many months, struggling and dealing with the social worker.
They don't
and
care.
watching your life crumble in front of them. You know, and so that makes it even that much worse, you know, and to have no conscience about that is just a terrible thing, you know. It's
when I started working with Attorney Davis, he taught me so much. I was so naive and gullible to so much. I didn't know my rights at all, guys. I mean, my career was banking and finance. I didn't know anything about the law. All I learned as growing up as a child is my mom and dad would say, okay, don't do that. If the speed says 55, you have to drive 55. If it says 35, you have to be at 35. And actually, the officer stopped me one time. I will never forget this. I was 27 years old. And he said, ma'am, you're very slow on the freeway. It says it's 55. The speed limit is 55. And I was so naive. I swear that guy, I would never forget him. He said to me, that was, where was I? Oh my God, that was on the 15 freeway at the time. And he said, ma'am, he goes, you make me laugh. I want to laugh right now, but I'm trying to be professional. That's what he said. He said, but you can speed it up a little bit more. I said, well, but I can't, because if I speed it up, you're going to give me a ticket. So he was like, this guy, I swear, you know, he's like, I literally, in his mind, he's like, man, you would be such a great friend. Kind of like that kind of person, right?
Yeah, you made his day. I know that.
Day. And then he said, okay, well, I'll give you permission. Here's my business card. And if another police officer stops you, tell him that officer so-and-so said that you can drive above the limit. That's much, right? And as God is my witness, Michael, I said, okay. So I took his card, I put it in my glove compartment, and I was like driving like this, like, oh my God, I'm so scared. I'm gonna get it. But that's how, like, literally I followed the rules. I had no idea that there is such corruption like this exists. Honest to God, I had no idea that cops side with the abusers, or that attorneys and district attorneys and judges are corrupt. I had no idea, because I used to see a police officer and I used to feel safer. But now when I see a police officer, I question.
You don't know. Yeah, you just, it's going to be a good one, or just going to be, yeah.
Exactly. When I see an attorney, I'm like, okay, what kind of bullshit have you done lately? When I see, when I see a district attorney, I'm like, who did you fuck with today? And then when I see a social worker, I'm like, bitch, get out of my face. I mean, it's kind of like my life has shifted. I had the best childhood, Michael, the best, that sometimes I wish I can go back in time.
Yeah, me too. I had a pretty good one.
Not grow up. Before I used to want to grow up. I used to tell my mom and dad, I can't wait to be 20. I can't wait to be 30. And then my mom is like, hurry, don't hurry. Just enjoy your time.
The moment.
Enjoy the moment, because you don't want to rush being an adult, because you're going to understand life more as you grow older by year. And My mom never told me, God rest her soul, her and my father, she never told me that there's such evil in the world. My mom used to say there's more good than bad. But as God is my witness, I see more evil than good.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not true. You know, maybe at one point it was, you know, it was, or they were even or close to equal. Now it's, unfortunately, I've been exposed to a lot of things I wish I never had to be, because me as a person who, you know, is very similar to you in that aspect that we, you know, I'm not out to intentionally hurt anybody ever. That's not who I am. But now that I've been exposed to these type of things, me being that type of person, I can't forget it. I can't forget it, you know, like I can't forget what I've seen.
It's very hard to trust. It's very hard to trust. I used to trust everybody. I used to like literally think everybody has good in them. And I realized that so much corruption in people in general. You don't know the truth from the lies. And the lies are like, basically, I see it this way. In the court system, the lies are the truth and the truth is the lie. That's
Very true.
Exactly what's in the court system. And I'm talking about both family law and juvenile and criminal. And even landlord and tenant cases. It's so corrupt. Like, for example, a landlord tenant case I was talking about with a client today. She said, Georgette, they kicked me out and called DCFS on me. Because I wouldn't leave because I didn't have a place to go to with my daughters. I said, were you paying rent on time? Yes, ma'am, I was. Do you have receipts? Yes, ma'am, I do. How did you pay the rent? Through Zelle. So that's sufficient. Because the landlord's name is on the agreement. And she was paying her Zelle. But what did the landlord want to do? Give the unit to her oldest son who just graduated from college.
Ew, that's scandalous.
So what did you do? Right. Threaten the mother with the 2 children. Kick her out. Give her a 3-day notice to leave. She didn't know where to go. She asked her to give her some more time. Then the owner decided to call DCFS on the mother. The mother lost her kids to DCFS.
Oh my God. That's just gross.
Because of a landlord-tenant case. She went from fighting for her rights to stay until she gets a place to losing her children. And she doesn't know what to do.
Excuse me, that is gross. That is just unacceptable, you know, like
we get cases like that. We get cases that were family law cases and it turns to DCFS. I'm like, it happens every day.
That's horrible.
We get people who tell us, oh, Miss G, it's a CPS investigation. I don't think I need an attorney now. Let's just wait. Right? I'm like, no, baby, you need an attorney now. You don't want to meet with the social worker. But Miss G, I'm okay. I'm not gonna be in trouble because I'm the non-offending party. I'm like, man, I wish you could talk to Michael. I told this client today, I said, I wish I can give you Michael's number and you sound just like him. You said the same thing to me. I'm the non-offending parent, Miss G.
I want to say that I didn't not believe what Miss G was telling me when through our first conversations about social workers and CPS and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'd kind of seen, some, or witnessed some weird behaviors by the social workers, but everything she said was right. Like I was going to say, I thought she was maybe a little bit crazy. I thought Miss G might've been a little bit crazy and like blowing it a little bit out of proportion. But I shit you not, like it's just gotten consistently worse over the time. Like I would reach a point where I'm like, what are they? They can't really go any lower than this. They can't really go to get a reaction out of me or whatever it is.
Right.
And excuse my language again. They have just surpassed. I mean, like a level of decency or like limit that I thought could ever even be. And they fucking pass it every time. Like it is just insanity. And it's They're relentless. The social workers are relentless. No conscience at all, no concern for the child, and they just are destined. Their objective is to see me crumble and cut me out of my son's life. So yeah, as the non-offending parent, wake the fuck up, because you're in for a ride, fuck.
Yeah, you are in for a ride. And people, I know, and you know what, Michael, people say the same thing to me when I talk to them on the phone. People that really don't know about CPS, they say, Miss G, I think you're a little bit exaggerating a little bit. And I just
she might be under exaggerated, she's, like, fuck.
Yeah.
Man.
See, and look, Jay said, don't wait until it's too late. They will manipulate. Yes, they will manipulate. Remember this, a social worker, just like a narcissist and a sociopath, they're always 10 steps ahead of you. A narcissist are always 10 steps ahead of you, because all they do, it must be like my dad one time told me, to be an evil person must be exhausting for them. You know why? Because all they do is devote themselves into planning and plotting.
You're not in your moment. You're not enjoying the moment, And I think the way that these, narcissists and social workers narcissists and social,
well, they are
they're one and the same. But yeah, I think you're on their trail, and you've seen all the things that they've done. So you're kind of like, I got them, kind of in a state like that. But then you get further. So while you're in that state, you caught on to all this, they are ahead, and they're just doing even more shit. So like, it's so much, becomes just an accumulation of just horrible things that have happened to you. So it makes your life very difficult to just let alone process it and then deal with it. Yeah, it just blows my mind. I'm pretty just, I can't try. It's very difficult for me to look at people the same as I did before all this happened to before the involvement of CPS in my life and my son's life. It is just it'll take you a place you don't want to go. It is an absolute living nightmare. Yeah, it's terrible. And the nicer you are, the more you advocate for yourself, the more you become a target, it seems, at least in my case. I think I've even had that written about me in a report one time. Oh, Mr. Such is a great advocate for himself. I'm like, well, fuck yeah, I am. I have to be. Nobody else, nobody else is saying anything, good for me. My counselor or whatever will write a report, and you guys and give it to you, and you won't even fucking put it in your report. It's not good enough all of a sudden, or whatever it is. So there's always a reason to try to keep a good person down,
So look, I got a message from one of the people on the show. Oh, okay, I know who you are now. Okay, so she asked if she has a family law custody battle in court, and she's afraid CPS will get involved. So she asked if there's any way we can have like a discount show that we had last week with Mr. Davis. So for LA County cases, you guys, and I'm going to talk to Davis about this. I'm going to immediately lower the retainers to $5,000 a retainer. Okay. So if you have any case, whether it's CPS in LA County only, CPS or family law, I'm going to make it $5,000 retainer only. And I'm sure Mr. Davis is going to approve that. So if you want to hire an attorney, if you have an LA County case, you can call the 888-888-6582 and ask to speak to GT or Miss G or Georgette, whichever. They know me as all of the above. And also, I want you guys to know that if they give you a court date for reunification that's 5 months down the road, they're lying to you. Because if they want you to reunify with your children, they would do it immediately. They will not wait 5 months. They will not wait 6 months or 7 months. So be very mindful with that, because sometimes people say that, oh, reunification process is coming. I always ask them, when is it? They say October, November. I'm like, well, why so long? That doesn't make any sense. Why so long? Right, Michael? Why?
Yeah, absolutely. That just kind of had a flashback there. I think when this happened, when the case plan happened and I finally got the case plan, I was like, whoa, first of all, how do you put me with the same case plan as the one who did all this shit? Well, we have to give each parent the same opportunity, which is just bullshit for various reasons. But, to make it shorter, I did ask that question. I'm like, so if I'm complying, and doing everything right, can I get my child back faster? Like, do I have to wait till such date? And they would not answer me. Like, I didn't get a direct answer, and the subject was changed real quick, the topic. So yeah, they don't believe that date. You can be in compliance with the fucking case plan too, while the other person is not, and still not get the child back. That's just that kills me, like, every day, dude. It really does. Just, yeah, believe it. Believe everything you think that they shouldn't do, they will do. They will. It's just horrible. It's just really horrible.
It is. And honestly, I mean, I want to help I want to make sure every mother gets her child back and every father reunite with their kids, because we cannot. This is ridiculous. I don't care how much they hate each other, the parents. Grow the fuck up, guys.
That shouldn't even factor into with the social workers.
No.
That shouldn't even factor into it. If the parents don't get along, they're divorced, whatever. They're supposed to be a non-biased party to it.
It's all about child support. So mothers, you can take care of your children and don't fight him for child support. Seriously, just if he's abusive and controlling and arrogant, don't even bother. You can do a lot better without him. And
same for us guys too. We
gotta
do
for the guys too. Don't fight ugly with ugly. Stay away from them, and just raise your child or your children without bad mouthing the other parent. Make sure that you're at least cordial towards each other in front of your kids. And as I mentioned, I have to call the show into an end. Michael, thank you so much for joining me, honey. I hope you got it tomorrow. I'm not sure if you're going to be up for it.
Okay, we'll text you. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, tomorrow's show, you guys, is Fight CPS Real Talk with Miss G. We're gonna do real talk, as if we don't already. Right?
This was the PG version today. Like,
I know. Yeah. Okay, Jay said they work at their own pace unless the judge tells them otherwise.
No, they work with the judge, that's the thing. In some cases.
I disagree, but that's okay, baby. We agree to disagree on that. Tomorrow's show is Fight CPS Real Talk with Miss G. Michael will join me, as he said. And then Friday is Relatives Fight CPS. And as I said, guys, $5,000 retainer for the LA County only cases. And if you need to get a hold of me, please don't hesitate to call the office and ask them to speak to Miss G to get the special rate that I announced on the show. Okay? All right, Michael. Thank you so much again, baby. I love you.
Cool. Thank you for having me. Have a good night, Miss G. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.